Well, for more on Apple's new iPhone and its future, I'm joined by William Stofega. He's Program Director of Mobile Technology and Trends for the International Data Corporation, or IDC. Welcome, William.
Thank you.
So it's been about a year since the iPhone 7 launched, and here we are again. So did these new iPhones live up to the hype as game changers for Apple?
I think largely they did. I mean, Apple's MO, if you will, is industrial design. And it certainly is a beautiful device. In terms of technology, a lot of the stuff has been already released by other companies, but it is doing what Apple's doing what it's usually doing, and that is bringing out technology, maybe a little later, but improving it.
Now, it's interesting, they've come out with the technology later, but this price tag, we're looking at $1,000 for the iPhone 10. What are your thoughts on the release of the iPhone 10 and some of its other upgraded products like the watch, etc.?
Yeah, I think, that is a price barrier and maybe an inhibitor to people buying the iPhone 10. But let's remember, in the U.S. and other Western markets, there's options in terms of paying for it over time. We have payment plans, leasing plans that could help cushion the blow of the cost of the device. Some of the other interesting features that have come out, and it's the ability by the iWatch to make a phone call, which is pretty neat.
Now, having seen what Apple has to offer, how important is the Galaxy Note 8, which is going to be hitting the shelves later this week?
Yeah, the Galaxy Note 8 is sort of, the way I look at it is playing in a different market, really. It's more of a business-oriented productivity tool. That's not to say people that want something for a consumer market won't buy it, but it is a very focused tool that can do lots of different things, primarily, like I said, for the business customer. And what they offer is something new in terms of using your smartphone as a computer. It's almost not going to replace the PC, but it certainly is going to be a new way of talking to the network without a PC if you need to.
Now, Samsung is hoping for a big bang, not the kind that it saw with the Galaxy Note 7 disaster. So how has Samsung fared overall since the explosive devices with the Galaxy Note 7?
Right. So surprisingly enough, Samsung actually finished the year quite strong on a worldwide basis. They were still #1 in smartphones, and they've recovered. They've proven that they have the resilience and the know-how to come back and really excite the market. I think both the S8 and the Note 8 are doing well.
Now, with the growing number of smartphones entering the market, where does the smartphone industry stand at the moment, both in terms of market leaders and some of the trends we should be looking at?
Sure. So I think that the market is slowing down. It's slowly becoming saturated. The growth is going to come at the lower end. And that lower end doesn't mean cheap devices. It means value devices that the specifications of some of these devices are pretty impressive. And these devices are also priced appropriately for some of the growing emerging market countries.
Now, globally, we know that Huawei has now overtaken Apple in terms of shipments. So what should we read into that? And what might that mean for Apple's strategy going forward?
Well, one of the issues with Apple's strategy is how do you address people that cannot afford a device priced at $1,000 or $700 or $500. That's sort of a weak spot. They've tried to address it by offering up refurbished phones, but when you see a brand new device that does all the things that the iPhone or some of the other top-tier devices do at a lower price, well, I mean, it's better to eat than to maybe buy an iPhone.
Well, you'd certainly hope so. So with a lot of these newer, more expensive models being released at a faster pace, they're costing more, what can some of these companies do then to keep luring people to keep buying the latest and greatest models?
Well, I think that's especially a concern right now, because what we're starting to see is traditional refresh cycles lengthen. And one of the problems is a lot of people from some of our surveys have said that, at the end of the day, we don't really see much difference in terms of the new model versus the old. And you think about paying off a $1,000 device, well, you know, that may take a little longer too, especially if you're buying it on a payment plan. So it's what all companies, I think, are going to be doing is linking that hardware, using that hardware as a platform to offer specialized services and features, right? So we saw a little bit of what Apple is doing today with its augmented reality game playing and things like that. So the smartphone is sort of your thing that you take everywhere, not only to work, but also to entertain and to also communicate.
Well, we'll have to see if people pick their food or their phone. Thank you so much, William Stofega.